Welcome back. We're at the Fendt event. Another year has passed, and Fendt are here to come and train all their demonstrator drivers. So we're going to go and have a look around that soon. So last year I did a drone video, and it did just shy of 200,000 views, and everyone really enjoyed it. But there was a few people who weren't too sure what some of the kit was. So this will be a bit more of an informative video where we actually look around the kit and drive it. And we've got these specialists here who are going to tell us how it works and what it does. This is the grass crop. This is a new lay of grass. This is Italian ryegrass. We had 2 new lays this year, and we're really lucky we did, because this has come really well. As you can see, it's like in places I've had it like up to here, right up to here. And you can see quite a big crop of grass. Whereas over on there, on top of that hillside field there, it's that's been there 3 years now, and it's just because we haven't had any rain. We haven't had any rain for probably 2.5 months now, and it just sort of stopped growing really. So this is sort of these 2 new lays that we managed to get well established last year. They've sort of saved it really. So yeah, really pleased with that. So we're going to be looking at a forage harvester. We've got that. That's the first time I've ever driven a forage harvester. We've got 4 balers. We've got a 130 fixed chamber wrapper on the back. We've got another 160 belt baler with a wrapper on the back, and then we've got 2 more 160s without wrappers. So we're going to look around them. We're going to look at the front mower, the rear mower. We've got the tedders, we've got the rakes, but we're going to explain all that in a minute. So the first thing we're going to start with, we're going to go and have a look at this forage harvester, which is a pretty cool bit of kit. So the first thing we're going to look at is this Fendt Katana 650. It's got this red pickup here with these little hydraulic wheels that fold out, as we can see. It's a really cool bit of kit, and I've never actually used one before because I've never needed to. So this would be a different type of a way of collecting the grass, because we obviously bale and then we wrap our silage, whereas this chops it up and puts it into like a trailer so that it can go into like a clamp. So, but we don't have a clamp, so you know, this machine's purely here today for the training. So this is the first time I've actually ever driven a forage harvester, and we're going to go and have a look round it, because it's quite an impressive bit of kit. So the Katana 650, 650 horsepower. So let's go and have a look. Right, we're here today with Phil. He's the tractor and forage harvester specialist for Fendt for the UK and Ireland.
Yep.
And he's going to show us around it today, because I don't know anything about these machines, never had anything to do with them. In that video you saw a minute ago, we're just sort of blowing it out into the field. Yeah. And I just
just having a bit of fun, weren't we?
I just wanted to have a go. I thought there's no point in having this here, and I've never driven it. I thought if we just blow it over there, we can sort of row it up again and bale it. So I wasn't going to put it into a trailer and tip it, because then I'd have a big heap of grass I don't know what to do with.
Exactly, yeah.
But this machine chops it up. So this part here, this is the pickup. So this is where it picks it up, comes up, and then it comes to these. Are these sorts of squeezers or something?
Yeah, so this machine has 6 feed rollers, so we've effectively got a line of 3, so the crop comes in.
Yeah.
And then between the 6 of those rollers, then they smooth out any lumps or anything like that, so we can effectively push on, go faster, and then present the crop then to a big spinning drum, which then chops it down then, you know, really, really fine or quite long, or depending on what your requirements are. So as you say, we've got this split at the moment, so for the purpose of the training, I've opened the drum up, just basically, Tom, so you can see what bit's actually cut in the grass here. So,
oh, brilliant!
So yeah, it's a bit of kit, isn't it?
When we're using it as well, it had like a metal detector on it and a stone detector.
Yes.
So what it did, it detected it picked a stone up and it stopped it instantly, didn't it? And reversed the stone out and then carried on, so it doesn't cause any damage to the knives.
Yeah. So effectively, we've got like a metal detector bank beneath this first roller here.
Yeah.
So when we do have a metal detector, it tells us on the screen this roller's split into 6 sections, so it'll tell us exactly where that is. So if it's a little pin or something off of a car that's been launched off a forgotten the bloody name of it.
Off the trebuchet, yeah.
Trebuchet,
yeah.
That'll find it.
Yeah, might find a bit of an old washing machine or something kicking about. So we move around here now. So that's obviously where all the feeding happens. and the knife sections and that. But that knife section takes some serious driving, doesn't it?
Yeah. So on this Katana machine, we have the largest diameter drum on the market, so 750 mil. So it's got very high flywheel mass, and then effectively we can have a selection of these knives on there. So we can have a 20 knife drum,
Yep.
a 28 knife drum, or a 40 knife drum. So between those three drums, we can go between a 2.6 mil chop length all the way up to, you know, 30, 40, depending on what blade configurations we run. Because you can run a half set on these drums as well. So
these are the differences.
So the machine behind us is a 28 knife drum, and this is it sort of closed all the way in. As you can see, that wouldn't be a lot good for your cows, would it?
No.
And then that then is it sort of opened all the way out, so that would
a lot longer.
Be a bit more realistic for what you would want in this application. So, like I say, it's very universal. A 28 knife drum, you know, farmers, contractors, whatever. Everybody has different needs, don't they? So,
yeah, of course.
The machine can cater for that. So what powers this drum? So at the back, we have a big 15.6 litre MTU engine.
Yeah, that's Mercedes, is it, or Daimler?
Yeah, that sort of mixture of companies. Then
okay,
they all you know have their say in the design of it. Most very common engine. This, to be fair, it's in a lot of trucks, it's in a lot of buses, it's in a lot of other choppers.
Yeah.
So there's another chopper that's quite popular, you know, with a slightly different colour that has the same engine.
You do a bigger one than this as well, don't you?
We do a bigger one. We do a Katana 850, and then that's an 18 litre Liebherr. So that's the largest inline six engine in agriculture.
Okay.
So you'll notice the way we design this machine, we have the engine parallel to the frame of the chassis.
Yeah.
Main reason we do that is just airflow. Get the airflow through the machine, keep it cool, you know, and we can then put our drive through a gearbox.
Yep.
So, for example, if we're in some heavy first cut,
yeah,
you know, we want every last ounce of power out of that engine. But if we come into second, third, fourth cut and there's not a lot of crop on the ground, actually we can gear the drum up, reduce the RPM on our engine, do the same job but burn a bit less fuel doing it. So that's why we effectively run with this this system.
This big V-belt here then?
Yes.
That's the drive that drives the knives.
That's the drive to the drum, yes. So that's a big 8-groove V-belt, and as you can see, it has a very, sorry to come back over here, very efficient power flow. I've actually drawn it out here for you. So as you can see, we've only got a couple of deflections on that belt. So, you know, every time you go around a pulley or you go around a corner, you effectively lose power. But with this, we have very minimal deflection, so we're sending all that power straight to the drum. Kind of a cool thing with this machine is, so the drum is driven off that belt, but the feed rollers and the header are driven hydraulically.
Okay.
So we can fine tune certain parts of the machine depending on our crop conditions, you know, speed the feed rollers, slow them, independently speed or slow the header to the feed rollers, depending on what crops we're in, you know, whether in short grass, long grass or whatever. So yeah, again, it's all about getting that power and using it efficiently as we can.
Excellent. Round the other side, we've got Stage. What emission engine is this? Because they've got all this sort of clobber here that's, you know, this EU regulation exhaust system.
Stage 5 engine in it, yeah. So we're all, you know, keeping it clean. Very, you know, clean breathing machine.
There's something I want to do that I really liked earlier when I see it. Now, how do you let it down? Or you pull this, don't you?
Yeah,
watch
that
this.
handle.
And it closes it all itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, funky. And you'll notice as we're stood here, so the other panel is still up.
Yeah.
So as that panel is up, it actually gives you a handrail up there as well. So if we are on top of the engine, you know, blowing it down or cleaning it, whatever, we have somewhere firm to hold on to as well. So it's the little things that make a difference.
Excellent. This next part here, this is a fan housing unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like got its own room inside of it, and I guess it's got this big grill on so that it doesn't fill the radiator with bits of grass.
Yes, absolutely. And again, a unique thing to the Katana is we actually have a reversible fan in there.
Okay.
So that will reverse itself every now and then just to keep that chaff off.
Yeah.
Because all of the radiators work on a cooling on demand principle. So basically the ECUs are reading the temperatures of everything.
Yeah.
If things are getting hot, it changes the fan pitch.
Yeah.
But the problem is if we want more cooling power, that takes more power to
Okay.
run. So hence why we have this principle then, once the machine is happy, it can sort of default back to a low power consuming fan speed, and then again send that power down to the drum where we're then chopping grass, which is what this is all about. So yeah.
Self-greasing as well?
Self-greasing, so yeah, we have a couple of PTO shafts on the front of the machine, so the drive for the header and the cross drive for the feed rollers. That's something you manually have to do with a grease gun, but the rest of the machine is effectively looked after by that cartridge there.
And the what do you call it, the spout on top?
Spout, yeah.
That's 180 degrees. We had a go, didn't we? And
210 actually, 210. It comes right round.
Okay.
So yeah,
and then you just aim it, and it's amazing how far it will actually. The power, that's 650 horsepower powering that chopper. That's why it's chucking that grass so far, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Usually we'd be putting that into a trailer. But you know, people are going to be like, "Why on earth are you doing that?" But I've literally just done it because I wanted to have
a laugh, aren't we?
I just wanted to have a go with it, so I'm blowing it across onto that other bit of grass, and we're just going to rake it up and bale it. So, shouldn't be much loss, but you know. Anyway,
you had a big smile on your face when you were there, and that's just as important.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Peter. Now, he is the product specialist for UK and Ireland and Northwest Europe. I'm led to believe. Yeah. So he's going to tell us about a few things. We'll look at the rake. I'm going to have a look at this rake here. So what can you tell us about this rake?
So effectively with the rake is exactly as it says, is we're raking the crop in. So as you can see, we've kind of spread all the grass out across the field. Now we need to pull it all back in and make it into a nice little what we call as a swath, which then we can run the balers down or a forager down to pick it up. So what this does is when it's all folded out, the tines will go around and they will comb the grass into the centre in there, so then it'll produce a nice swath out the back there, nice row of grass, which then we can go through and collect with either a forager or a baler there, just to gather it all back in.
How wide is this?
So this one will go out to out to about 9.8 metres with that one. So we can push it in or out in there hydraulically to set that. So we've got a little scale round the front there to tell us where we're going from. So from 8 metres and push it outwards for that one, depending on how much crop we want to gather in.
So you do a quad rotor as well?
Yeah. So we have in there. Well, basically, we go from a single rotor one, which would just deliver it all to the side there. Whereas then this is what we call as a centre delivery. So we've got the 2 rotors, and they're bringing all the crop into the middle, and then we do a 4 rotor one of these where it goes even wider. And so what you have then is two rotors out really wide that kind of bring it in, and then another 2 rotors at the back then that just gather that in to again create one big swath of grass. It just means then that you can clear large acreages with those ones, and certainly when you've got a forage harvester and you want to have the output there, then really chase up behind that one.
Oh, brilliant. Right, we're going to go on to the balers next. This is the first baler, one of 4. This is the 160 V. Yeah. So just before we have a look at these, obviously, I've done it in a bit of wrong order, but obviously we'd mow it first with the mowers, then we'd ted it out. Sometimes we don't have to ted it out. Sometimes we go and just rake it up. Depends how dry it is. So the tedders are there to basically dry the crop out, row it up, and then we'll come along with the balers and bale it, and then sometimes we'd wrap it. So like with straw we wouldn't wrap it, with grass we would wrap it, because obviously we don't want the oxygen to get to it, because otherwise it will rot. So that's the reason why we're wrapping the bales up. But yeah, this baler here, this is a belt baler, which you're going to tell us about. And we've got the silage wrap here. We don't, like I say, we don't have to wrap it, but what can you tell us about this machine then?
So with a round baler, is in essence, obviously we've got our pickup reel here.
Yeah.
So those little fingers are flicking back round, and they're scooping the rows up and then feeding it into the bale chamber. So you have two types of balers. We have what we call a fixed chamber and a variable chamber. So this is a variable rate chamber here, and what we will see then is some big belts on the back.
Yeah.
And but with the variable chamber there, what it means then is we can do different size bales with that one, and so it will start off forming a little cylinder of grass, and then obviously then that will just keep growing,
rolling and rolling.
just keep rolling it up. So if you think of like a toilet roll, you're just putting layers and layers of paper on, but this time it's grass, and we're just building that roll up. And then once it's reached our desired size, then is the rear tailgate will open up, and then because we've got this is what we call as a combi baler, so we've got a wrapping ring on behind, it will transfer the bale out onto the wrapping ring, and then these will start to spin round the bale, and then we'll start to wrap it up in plastic, which is then what effectively gives us that anaerobic conditions there, which basically pickles the grass to preserve it and stop any mould from growing.
Before it goes onto the silage wrap, onto the wrapper at the back, we can choose whether we have silo film and net wrap.
Yeah. So in here is we can see we got some net wrap on here. So this just basically ties everything together in the bale, because if we didn't have that on, if we spat the bale out, all it would just do is just all the grass would come springing back out with that one. So yeah, put a layer of that net on, or we could put a layer of film on there, depending on what the farm wants to do. But then that just holds the bale all together, and then we can then transfer or drop it straight onto the ground, and off we go.
On one of the other balers, I saw you've got a is it a weigh cell on it?
Yeah. So is what we can do with the balers is we can actually weigh how heavy the bale is.
Yes.
There, but then also is what we can have in the balers is moisture sensors as well. So it'll actually tell us how damp the bale. So certainly if we're doing straw, is a lot of people want to know kind of what the moisture of those straw bales are, and then what they can actually do is you can get down to a stage where you can look to sort of see, okay, well, where were the wettest bales in the field, and therefore we'll put them in that part of a stack, and those are the drier bales, and you can even look at that sort of thing going on.
A bit like yield mapping or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So these bits here, these are the spare rolls of film for the backs of the wrappers, aren't they? So we carry 2 on there, 4 each side.
Well, we carry more, so we actually go 6 on this side. As we could put more on there, and then just pull the pin out, let it drop down, and then so you can
easily get them on and off.
Yeah, slide them on and off then, and put them onto there. So it just means then that you've always got plenty of film with you, that you're not having to stop and go back to the yard to collect more. Yeah,
okay, brilliant. Right, we're going to go around this side and have a look at the next machine. So the next machine is the fixed chamber baler, and it's actually got a carousel on the front for the net wrap, so you can change it 3 different times. So I'll have a quick look at that, and then we'll have a look around the wrapper as well. This is the fixed chamber baler. This is the 130.
Yeah, 130F. Yep. So F being fixed.
Okay.
In there.
Oh, and V stands for variable.
Variable. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the carousel. So you've either got a net wrap, film wrap, or net wrap. You can put whatever you want, and I think it's great because when I've been baling before, these are quite heavy to lift up. So you'd have to sort of like pick it up when you're like in the middle of the day when it's boiling hot, and you'd put it on. But now you can just sort of spin it round, load the next one in, and it's really good as well because you haven't got to try and carry it somewhere. Yeah. It's all carried on that carousel. So yeah, that's really good. So inside of this baler, instead of having belts, it's just got loads of rollers.
Loads of rollers around, and so is with a variable one, because of the belts, it's starting off with a really small chamber size, so it's forming the bale right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Whereas with a fixed chamber baler, is if you think of like laundry and a tumble dryer, it's just tumbling around in the chamber, and it's only then really does it start to form a proper bale shape until you get into the last few layers of grass going into the machine. That's when it starts to kind of compress it. And so what you'd see versus if you spit a bale out from a variable chamber and spit out a bale from a fixed chamber, is with a variable chamber you see a nice spiral of grass right from the get-go, and it just be spiraling around, whereas a bale that comes out of a fixed chamber is what you kind of almost see is like a star shape before then you start to get the layers of grass coming on, because that's just because it's just naturally tumbling around in there, and before then it starts to form up. And that's kind of really the big differences between the two.
Okay, right. So we'll move along to this wrapper at the back now. So the wrapper This is the wrapper. The other two balers we've got, they haven't got wrappers on the back, so they're basically exactly the same balers. They just haven't got this bit on the back. So this would be like a contractor's machine or something, or a single man machine.
Yeah.
Because if we had that baler, we'd have to go baler.
You've got to follow it back up with someone else to come out and wrap, yeah.
Whereas this is one machine, it just does it all at once. So it's got like this big centrifugal ring around it. We can see it's obviously wrapping the bales, and yeah, it's quite fast actually, isn't it? You don't have to sort of stop too many times because you can set it so it rolls it off, and then the next bale comes out.
Yeah.
So you're stopping minimum amount of times. Can't you?
Yeah, that's the thing, and essentially, really, what you kind of do is try and really match it. That is that. There's pointless kind of going too fast with the baler, whereas you've got a bale netted,
yes,
but you're still wrapping a bale. So really, it's you kind of just want to get it timed that as soon as you finish wrapping a bale, your next bale is already formed in the chamber, and you just drop one bale off and spit the next bale out there. Else, if you go too fast with the baler and you've already formed the bale, but you're still wrapping, when you just needlessly sat there waiting for the wrapping to finish before you can chuck your bale out. So you kind of want to kind of work it out a little bit.
You've got two cameras in the cab as well, so you can see what's going on behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And then LED lights are working at night. So it's been quite well thought about. And also as well, you can do it manually. You can operate this manually from not being in the cab. We've got these buttons on the side where you can sort of press them and wrap it or drop the bale off. Or
you can do the whole, if you like, the whole sequence. So you can lift the tailgate open, you can transfer the bale across, and then you can do the wrapping, set the knives, we'll cut the wrap off, and then eject the bale. So you can do it all stood from ground level, but is ordinary. We want to be staying in the cab all the time, really.
It's amazing how much technology's come along, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, right, we're going to go and have a look at the mowers now, then we're going to have a look at the two tedders. And, yeah, I hope you're enjoying this, because it's certainly very interesting. Mowers, this is a front-mounted mower, so this is a Slicer 310. So this this is operated off the front PTO shaft of the tractor, and it's quite handy having a front one because you can actually you get twice as much done, can't you? Or you can have a triple set. So we haven't had a triple set here. So
no, not today.
Hopefully next year they'll bring a triple set, just so I can have a look at it and have a go with it. So yeah, all this basically is, we'll have a look. We've got a deck just sat over here on a bale, so we can actually look. But what it is, it's just a load of spinning knives that spin round, and then behind it, it's got like a conditioner. So when the grass is chopped, it goes through this conditioner, which sort of bruises the grass, and it makes the drying time quicker. So, because obviously with silage, you know, you need to really leave it about 24 hours to wilt in the field before you bale it up, because if you bale it up straight away, the bales all go sad and like can sink. So yeah, so with silage you'd leave it 24 hours, with haylage you'd probably leave it 2 or 3 days, with hay you'd probably leave it for the full week. So yeah, what can you tell us about this this machine?
So is with this one, so there's two different types of front-mounted mower, and they traditionally fall into what we either call as a pull type or a push type.
Okay.
So this is what we call as a pull type. So that's why we have this big frame over the top there, and essentially is we're pulling the front mower along from this point, and what that means then is the mower can float around this linkage, so we can contour follow nicely with the front mower, whereas the push type ones then is you've almost got like a fixed headstock at the front there, so whilst it will go up and down, it doesn't have so much of the lateral movement in there. So again, it just depends on what sort of terrain you're working with. And as you said, then is you've got the discs down there, so they're spinning around, cutting the grass against what we call as like an anvil in there, and then is there the way they spin, the disc spin, is they're feeding the crop more into the centre of the machine, and then we can have what we call a spreader plate. So if we want to spread the grass out wide, is we can open that up and let that come through. And as you said, then with the conditioner, is you're trying to, if you look at grass, it's got like a wax layer on there. And so that's what you're trying to do is you're trying to break that waxy layer, which then that's what allows the moisture to escape out the grass as quick as possible with that one. And if you can get the grass dried quicker, what you do is you also is retain as much as the sugars that's within the grass, and that's ultimately is what gives the cattle, the livestock, the energy is the sugar retained within the crop. And so yeah, if you have got very low sugar levels in the silage that you made with that one, then you just end up with a poor feed quality, and it just becomes a stomach filler rather than actually trying to go to the growth of the animals.
So these machines have been basically designed around, getting the best quality of material possible, haven't they?
Yeah.
So right, let's have a look at the rear mounted mower now. This is the same machine now, but it's rear mounted, isn't it? And it floats again.
Yeah, so obviously we're in the park position. So if this was on the tractor, then we see this this big green arm will be sat slightly higher. The mower then is pivoting around that main point there, and so as we're going across the field, is the mower bed can obviously pivot that way, but it also as well the whole thing can go up and down as well as we go along the train. And the idea then is by having all that movement, is the last thing you want to do is have the mower blades digging into the ground and bringing soil into the crop, because then that can give you a bad bale. Certainly if you're making silage, that can make the silage go all mouldy in there. So you don't want any contamination of soil going into your silage.
Okay, and then on these mower decks just here there's two different types you've got.
Yeah. So is what we have on the mower decks is it's two different if you like drive concepts.
Yeah.
So this one here is what we call is a compact angular gear drive. So we can see we've got lots of little angle gear drives in there, but it's quite a deep mower bed. And so what that just means then with this one is you can be quite sensitive to the mowing height in there, whereas in with this one here is what we call is the streamline cutter bar. And so this is what we call is a large spur gear drive bed. So it gives us a very narrow profile in there. So it just means then that obviously if we want to cut quite close to the ground, we can do if we want to. Whereas ideally we still want to leave a decent chop length just for the regrowth. But it's then makes it a very universal bed, this one.
Oh, brilliant! Right, so these are the tedders. These are the bit that do the drying of the grass, aren't they? So we've got two here. We've got this one here, which is a real simple one. And then we've actually got three. This one here, which is real simple, and then we've got mine, which is the same as that, but quite a bit wider. And then we've got this one here, which has got the hook tines on it.
Yeah.
And I've never actually known why there's hook tines, so I'm hoping you're going to tell us.
Yep. So it's certainly with this one is well, kind of with the two ones there. What you'll notice is the rotor size. So the green dishes there. Quite a bit of difference here. So these ones are brilliant for low acreages, where you just want to do a little bit yourself. Whereas this one is kind of more the high acreage where you want to get some real throughput in there. Yeah. So we go for a larger diameter rotor there. But then also, as you said, then we got what we call as the hook tine in there. And the idea is then is that really kind of pulls the grass apart. So when it's in the swath and we're trying to spread it out, it kind of hooks into there and really
rips the grass apart.
Rips it apart, so we don't get any lumps in there. So what we're always looking to do when we're tedding grass is just get a nice even fan of grass coming out and letting it all spread out neatly, nice and level across there. And what we don't want to have then is still any lumps and bumps, because it means then if we've got a big lump of grass, well then that's going to dry differently to where we've got it gone a little bit thinner. So that's the idea behind it, is get in there and pull that grass apart and really get a nice good spread.
I've had it before where you get like a lump in the field and you'll feel everything else and it's dry, and that lump will be literally saturated wet. So it's really important.
Yeah, so it's just get that nice even spread there. And usually what they like to say is when you're tedding is get the grass fanning out about chest high, well, waist high there, and just not let it fan out there, and just settle down with that one. And so your forward speed and you know, how fast you're driving will also have a big effect of how good a quality of job you're doing. So some people, they're always at risk of trying to drive too fast, and they're actually then doing more harm than good by not allowing the machine to pull the grass apart and fan it out.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's been really helpful. Thank you very much. We've had a look around all the forage harvester and everything else, and yeah, I've actually learned a bit. Always learn a bit every year. Fendt come, and we have a good relationship now, working together, don't we? So it's worked really well. So one of the other videos I'm going to do, all this drone footage, I'm going to compile it all into one video and do a good video of that again for everyone to enjoy. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.